Hello, everyone. Welcome to Progress Junior Golf. My name is Steve Jackson, and this is Aaron Cox.
G'day, Steve. How was everybody?
Not too bad, thanks. Yes, right now this is the 10th edition of the Progress Junior Golf Show this year, 72nd episode that we've ever done, so past 72, so not too bad. And it's also the penultimate show of the year. So tonight, we're going to look back on the last year with Progress Junior Golf. We've made a lot of points, pledges, given plenty of advice over the last 12 months on this podcast. Not just on this podcast, at events, to juniors, to parents, sponsors, clubs, counties, you name it. Even to each other as well. We've given each other advice both in private and in public as well. But look, we can talk the talk, but can we walk the walk then? So that there has to be some accountability with some of the things that we've said and our actions as well. So, we need to figure out whether we've got things right, whether we're getting things wrong, whether we're giving the wrong advice. So this show then it's the verdict. This is where we look at what we've done over the last year and we go, right, did we get it right, or really did we not get it right? Now, to help us out, we're going to need someone who knows Progress Junior Golf, and he can give an honest assessment of what we're doing. We need someone far more intelligent than us, don't we? We need someone. We do, yes. We need someone wise. We need someone charismatic. We need someone charming. We need someone good looking.
And it won't hold back.
It won't hold back. That's it. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't find anyone who fits that bill. So we're going to bring back an old face. Someone we've not seen on the Progress Junior Golf podcast before. As you can see, he's going a bit grey. He's losing his hair, and he's definitely losing his marbles. This is Ian Wilthouse.
Wise, no. Intelligent, no. Honest, no. Who wasn't available, Steve? Everyone.
Everyone. That's it. Yeah, we kind of got lumbered with you, but no. Obviously, you've been here from the start with Progress Junior Golf, so you know what we've been trying to do over now 4 years. You see, so and obviously with Aaron,
I am, Steve, very much looking forward to when you said you are accountable today.
Oh dear, yes.
Did I really say that? Responsibility for the things that you've been saying. So I'm going to
open yourself up there.
I am going to be very open and honest today with that. So
yes.
Here we go.
We could be in serious trouble, right? Okay, so basically, what we've done is that the podcast that we've done this year, we've covered lots of different subjects. So we did one on values, we did one on working in junior golf, one on sustainability, one on parenting, one on girls golf, one on frequently asked questions, which is more about communicating, the right messages, one on etiquette, one on talent spotting, one on the rules of golf. So today we're going to look at those and we're going to see whether we did, we've given lots of advice in those podcasts. We're going to talk about, whether we got the right advice out to people. But also today as well, we're going to look back, because in the last couple of podcasts we didn't actually do the news section. So we're going to take a proper look back on the competitions that we've organised this year, how they went, the kind of things which happened. And also I know, Ian, as well, you've been running doing some media work at some junior events this year as well. So we're going to cover some of that as well, you see. So right, we'll start off there, if you like, with the news then. So just a reminder for people who aren't aware of what Progress Junior Golf is about and what the Ace Junior Golf Tour is about. So Progress Junior Golf is a website which was set up about 5 years ago, around about just after the pandemic, and it was an opportunity to get out there for kids and parents to find out where you could go and play in junior competitions. So it was the only website in the country which had all the junior competitions on there. And it could be junior tours, it could be junior opens, it could be county, national, regional events, anything which a junior wanted to play in. It was their opportunity to see where they could go and play in these events. And then inevitably on the back of that, because I was organising some events myself, they got brought into it, and we started running some series and some tours ourselves. And obviously Aaron set up his own tour this year, so that obviously became part of the Progress Junior Golf. So lots of things which have kind of graduated and got bigger over the last few years or so. But this year in particular then, so one of the things which was set up, I run a junior tour in Warwickshire, and it's split into a spring series and a summer series. And then this year as well, we ran what's called the Master Series as well, which had events not just in Warwickshire, but some other clubs and venues around the local counties in the Midlands. So just got a few photos of some players who did really well. So in particular, spring and summer and the Master Series was 4 players in particular who pretty much were dominated, and they won everything. which is credit to them. So they got some photos. So this was Anya Sakija. She won the girls net competition, both the spring series and the summer series in Warwickshire, and was also in the top 3 in both the Master Series as well. Another player who did really well, Archie Williams, who won the boys grows in both the spring series and the summer.
Nice hat.
And
I was going to say, Ian, you were reading my mind. I was looking at that going, oh, that's a good hat.
It's a good photo as well, I might say as well, but there you go. So, and then same with the girls as well. Jessica Davis, she won the girls gross in the spring series, girls in the summer series as well, and also the Master Series gross as well. And then a young up and coming player as well by the name of Gracie Hemmings. And I love the pose as well of this one as well. It's really,
she knew, didn't she?
Absolutely, yes. And she won the 9-hole competition with the girls in both the spring and the summer, and also the Master Series as well. And all of those 4 players as well, and we will touch upon this a lot more a little bit later on as well, they all receive invites to go and play out in the Champion of Champions over in Ireland next year. So what I'm saying, a few other players, though, who did well in the spring and summer. So Fraser Gibson, he won the spring series in the 9-hole competition. And Louis Boys, he won the summer series in the 9-hole competition. And then in the let me find the photo. That was Bradley Cleaver. He won the summer series, and Adil Khan won the spring series as well, and one of the players as well. So all these players, like I say, got invites to play in the Champion of Champions. Hudson Eckloff was another one who qualified for the Champion of Champions. So that's basically the results from the competition as well. But from our point of view is trying to get more players playing the game. So there was in the spring series there was 7 events plus what was called the Spring Series Festival Golf, which is like the grand final. Of those events, I ran 6 of them, and the average field in those events was 52 players. So very good in terms of just to give you an indication. And when I first came into Warwickshire and said I'd like to run a junior Order of Merit for you, the biggest field of any junior open was 29 players, and the smallest field was 5. So in 4 years, we've gone from a biggest of 29 to now an average of 52.
An average of 52.
An average of 50. So obviously bigger fields. I think the smallest field was something like 44. So even the smallest field there was the summer series. So there's 15 events in the summer series, plus the grand final. With that, I ran 8 of those events, and the average field in the summer series was 52. So there's a pretty consistent pattern here. The fact that
I think then, Steve, what we need to say is if anybody is watching this and is thinking of running a tour next year, needs somebody to run it for you, he is the man. Right there.
Yes.
Get in contact with Steve Jackson. Comment below.
I also ran a Master Series as well. So these were events whereby some slightly further distances to travel. 10 events were there. Some of those were included both in the spring and the summer series as well. Average field of that was 35, but that's slightly different because slightly higher price to play in the competition because we're charging the bigger green fee by some of the clubs, and also slightly longer distance to travel to them. But generally speaking, over the course of all the events throughout the entire year, 32 events, I think the average field was something like 45, 46 or something like that. So, so you have to say, pretty successful. Yeah, you know, said what I was going to do at the start of the season, backed it up with numbers as well, and consistent. And actually, that was more as well than was the previous year as well, with the amount of events with the amount of players that get. And also, I said there that in the spring there was 8 events, and I ran 6 of them. One of those other 2 events, the club has come back to me and said, we'd like you to run it for us next year as well. You see, so
fantastic.
I've added one of those other 2 as well. And
Steve, I'm going to take a risk on something here because you're the man. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Let's just try. That's Steve Jackson right there. Move your eyes up. I don't know if that works very well, but well done.
Thank you.
Cool,
this might be better. There you go.
Marvelous. Hey. Thank you. Now, also during the year as well, we also ran what's called a Wonder Series. Now, that was a new concept for this year. So this was aimed at players who had just started playing the game of golf. So someone like Aaron would be coaching players and never played in a competition before, haven't got a handicap yet, and how do you get them to take that next step into playing the competition? It can be daunting, as I'm sure you're aware, Aaron, in the sense of playing in that first competition can be a little bit daunting. People don't want to do that type of thing, or don't even know how to. You see, so we set this Wonder Series up where there are 6 events plus a grand final, and because it was completely from scratch, you didn't know who you're going to get, and also my thinking with next year is that all those players who played in it this year, are they going to go on and play in the event because they may have outgrown it? They may be ready to play in the Junior Opens. Average field for those events was 18 players this year. Bearing in mind that they're pretty much all beginner golfers, all just learning, start to play the game, you see. So the biggest field, I think, was 28 we had with that. So worked really well. And lots of the kids enjoyed playing in that. And the interesting thing with some of that is that some of those players who played in those events qualified to play in the Warwickshire Grand Final at the end of the year. So players who not only so two lads, for example, finished the year. Bearing in mind they had not played in a single competition at the start of the year, finished with handicaps of 15 and 18. So players who not only have enjoyed the opportunity to play in competitions for the first time, have thrived on it, and obviously have got better and better.
Already better than me.
Well, look. Okay, if we set the standard with your golf, Ian, then yeah, exactly. So, just 2 other events as well, which are around as well. We ran the Alexis Brown Golf Foundation Day, which took place at Nailcott Hall, and that had 41 players playing in it. And I ran a Junior Open in October half term. And October half term, you think to yourself, how many players are going to play at that time of the year?
Exactly right.
Yeah, and what did I say? The average field was for the spring series 52. 52. The average field for the summer series was 52. Have a guess how many players I got for the Walmley Junior Open?
53.
52. 52. I mean, come on. You set it up for you. Anyway, there you go. So that went really well as well, So opportunities for lots of players to play in the events and things like that, you see. So, right. Now, that's obviously what we did down in the Midlands. Just to let you know that the events that were in different counties, so Bedfordshire, Leicestershire, Worcestershire, Staffordshire. So there are other events as well in Northamptonshire. So other events in and around the local counties down here. And that was the concept of trying to get players to play in local competitions. Yeah. And that's exactly what you did with the Ace Junior Golf Tour, isn't it, Aaron? Because
absolutely.
If we were talking this time last year, what was your thinking about how it was going to go and how did it go?
Well, the idea of my Ace Junior Tour literally came in November. So I started the concept and the idea. I pulled together about 6 or 7 parents of kids that were playing in the Northern Junior Tour, were playing Rupert Rock Tour, playing county events, they were playing elite golf. I pulled them together as a bit of an organising committee and went, you know what? The Northern Junior Golf Tour has now gone national, gone to the Ping Junior Tour, which is obviously fantastic work from Jason and Mike that spent so many years creating this tour and pretty much grew out of the north and had to expand into the whole of the country. So it kind of opened up a bit of an idea for me to create a local tour for the local kids of the Northeast. So the concept came in November. My first event was in April after 5.5 months of trying to ring around golf clubs, use my contacts. And I ended up creating a 5-round order of merit. And then the final, the 6th round, back at home, my course, Blackwell Grange. Got it off the ground. Had our first event at Billingham in April half term. Had 3 events in that week, actually. We had Billingham round 1, Wearside round 2, and then Bishop Auckland round 3. Pretty much almost back to back. And when I first had the concept, I went to these golf clubs. I said, look, I'm not going to overreach. I said, if I could get across the 5 age categories, 40 kids, I'd be over the moon at each event. I said, that's what I'm hoping to do. And pretty much I looked at the events and the first event at Billingham, I had 53. The second event at Wearside, I had 42. And then the third event at Bishop Auckland, I had 45. So for my first 3 events, straight off the bat, I was well above average. Well, I was well above my reality number that I wanted. And then my last, then I went into round 4, which was in May half term. And it was actually something that really hasn't been done in junior golf. And that was a 2-day major where the kids had to play 18 holes day 1 and 18 holes day 2, and then
Like
later
it.
10s, 9 holes day 1, 9 holes day 2, and whoever led after day 1 slept on the lead overnight.
Was that two different venues as well?
No, same course.
Same course, okay.
Same course, yep. So I was able to have. So the club were fantastic. They gave me about 3.5, 4 hours of tee times both days, and looked after me. And then I sent out in score order. So the leaders went out all together at the back of each age group, which then obviously everyone knew what they were doing and where they were sitting, and that was a big success. So I had 39 kids for that, and then got to round 5, which was Barnard Castle. And that was end of July, and that was the last one before the final. And I had 45 kids in that one, which then took me into the final. So, my first 5 events of my Order of Merit events being very local, all in County Durham. Obviously, Richmond was just outside, but in North Yorkshire, but just outside the that border. But the 5 events that I held, I went to the clubs. I said I want 40 kids. I'd be very happy with 40 kids. And I had more than 40 kids as an average. Over the 5 rounds, I had more than 40 kids as an average. So I was tickled pink. I was really happy with that. So that kind of pushed me on. And then we had a very successful final where we had just on, again, 40 kids turn up to that final. I had a number of kids in each of the age groups play for the Order of Merit Championship. And then my mission statement at the start was, every kid who played whether one event or all 5 will get an invite to the final. I wanted everyone to play and experience the atmosphere of being around all the Order of Merit trophies, and having all the stuff out, all the flags out in the golf course, all the signs around the tees, give them that experience. And then I had the main guys in the final, and then I had the reserve final for all the other kids in their prospective age groups as well, which was a great success. I had great feedback from all the parents, with obviously with the main tour of the Northern Junior Golf Tour, then moving nationally to Ping Junior Tour. It did kind of leave a little bit of a hole, as per se. With lesser numbers in the northeast of England, which I thought, well, I could kind of pick up the rest. I could pick up that little bit of the lower numbers and try and bring them back up. And then that is now pushed me into next year in 2026. I got the dates. Went back to those first 5 golf clubs, and I went, hey guys, do you want round 2 in 2026? And they're all like, yes, sign us up. And then I actually had about 3 golf clubs actually contact me saying, hey, we'd love to be a host. And then I called a few more clubs. So for 2026, I'm going to go from a 5-round Order of Merit plus a final to a 10-round plus final, 11 events in 2026, all across Durham, Teesside, Cleveland, and even back to Richmond as well in North Yorkshire. And already I've opened my entries up for 2026 across the 10 events. Currently at the moment, I'm too short of 150 entries. So at the moment, you're looking at about nearly 15 kids per comp has entered already. And we're the 6th of November. The first event is
Aaron. 5-6 months ahead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Let's show some photos.
Yes.
So you mentioned the trophies. That's the trophies that you gave.
Nice trophies.
Yeah, really cool. So so all the kids, as you can see, there's replicas. So I actually gave one to the kids to keep, and I actually kept the other ones, and I put their names on it, which I've got them now at the golf club. I've got them at Blackwell Grange with their names on it. So those kids will obviously be the very first winners of those Order of Merits. But yeah, that was really cool. That, and then there's all the under 10 kids that played on the day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 kids there. And then, as you can see, there are ages ranging from, the little youngster on the far left, Adam Pert, he's 5. And then obviously right next to him, you've got Rory, who was about to turn 10.
Rory, that's a strong name in golf, isn't it?
Rory, yeah,
That is.
Rory, yeah. You wouldn't believe it, Ian. On his golf bag, he's got all his head covers. He's got Roars, Rors, just
Of
like Rory
course.
McIlroy. And then obviously the fourth kid in, Giorgio, he won the Order of Merit. And then the one girl that you can see, Anya, she's actually a member up at Close House. So that was a good drive that's up, just north of Newcastle. So that was a great effort for her to come down and play. And then young Ben on the far end, he's one of my kids as well at the golf club. So yeah, it was fantastic. And then the gentleman standing behind, that was Rob Manners. He was obviously my major sponsor.
Oh, that's not you, Aaron. I thought that was you.
It's not me. Yes, thanks, Ian. Appreciate it. There's the honesty coming in. But he was our major winner.
We've got more photos.
There's Giorgio, our under-10s champion, who gets that ticket to gets the invite to the Champion of Champions in 2026. Tobias Slade, Ian, you know Tobias.
I know Tobias very well.
From a very young age.
Doesn't know his golf rules though, does he?
No, unfortunately got beaten. No, I know. That was a bit. I did speak to him after that, Steve, and I was like, man, what happened there? But the score. But the one thing I do want to say about the final on this day, Tobias, at that point, he was playing off, I think about five or six handicap, and he went out there, and his first ever time in a competition, he shot 2 under par around Blackwell off the whites. And now, obviously, the Blackwell course, Ian, but he shot 2 under off the whites, off the stick, had 43 points. That's 7 up. And obviously, he took out the Order of Merit Championship, so he gets his ticket over to Ireland in 2026 as well. But that was brilliant. That was a brilliant effort. And there was the under 13 girls, the Order of Merit champion in the middle, Olivia, and then you had Phoebe, and then Saoirse as well. So that was really cool to have those girls play. We had about 5 or 6 girls play over the season, but those 3 girls made it to the final. And then there's one of the under 18 girls, Lisa, teeing off on the first. So we had lots. It was fantastic. I had kids from all over the county, golf clubs of all around.
Who took these photos?
North Yorkshire.
Who took these photos, Aaron?
Well, I had the professional photographer of the great Steve Jackson, actually, at Blackwell this day. So that's why these photos are so good, Ian.
Yes, I was going to say very impressive.
Well, as you well know, I'm only as good as the model, and you need models like this.
Yes, young Adam actually looking at the camera as he hit his shot, Ian. That's funny as.
Is he? What club's he got? He's got a glove on, isn't it? It's a shame he's not putting it and looking at the cameras.
But yeah, he actually looked at Steve when he hit the shot, which was very cool. But he's a 5. He's age 5 at Bishop Auckland Golf Club. He's a great little kid. He was always loving it. He always wore his hat. And his parents always told me he loves that hat. He never takes it off. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So, look, I was really, really chuffed and I was over the moon and so encouraged by not only the kids supporting, but the feedback from all the parents starting this little local tour. And obviously I've got a massive junior academy at Blackwell, so that kind of helped. So I was able to get a lot of my kids and a lot of parents on board to play them. But to be able to get it out to the other golf clubs and to have so many other golf clubs of kids play, Ravensworth, Newcastle, and I had Bishop Auckland, I had kids from Billingham, we had from Richmond as well, but then from, we're talking Close House and Chester Street and Durham, those kids driving, and Whitburn, Saltburn, all out there, come out and play, and even Cleveland as well. Was just really, really, it's great for me. It was great for my confidence that I was doing the right thing, and I was doing the right thing at the right clubs to help support those clubs, but also showcase what Durham's got. And now, I'm running into 2026 now, and I'm hoping that now from the numbers of 40 per event, I'm being realistic, but I want to try and get to minimum 50 per event. And if I can do that, I'll be very happy.
Now, we mentioned as well a little bit about the qualifying opportunity to play in the Champion of Champions. For those who aren't aware what the Champion of Champions is, we were both there. This is the closing ceremony at the Champion of Champions this year.
It takes place biggest worldwide event. Yeah, sorry, go on, Steve.
Yeah, so it takes place at Lochern over in Northern Ireland, which is absolutely stunning venue. They play this year anyway. They play one round on the Castlehume course, and then they play two on the main championship, the Lochern golf course. It actually will be changed for next year. I think they're going to be playing all three on the Faldo, the main championship course next year. Just to mention as well, show a photo as well. This is Isabel Toon, who was obviously on the podcast, the Rules podcast as well. She qualified and played in it last year, and she's also qualified to play in it next year as well. So well done to Izzy for that. But actually, as far as that Champion of Champions is concerned, your tour initially, when you set it up, Aaron, wasn't even a qualifier for it, but just by talking to them over there, that they said, yeah, we'd love to have you involved.
Well, yeah, the corny saying, unfortunately, it is funny, but it's very corny. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And when I was over, and obviously I went over with I had like 4 kids in 2024 playing that were champions, and I had 3 kids this year. And with using my contacts, i.e. Steve Jackson, I was actually able to have a meeting with Michael Gallagher, the main organizer and runner of the event of the Champions. And so look, I've got a junior tour. I'm playing my final in a few weeks' time. Is there a scope for me to take 5 invites? And he goes, yep, no problem. So I said, well, can we talk about 2026 and 2027 then? So thanks to Steve, who opened that door for me, I was able to have a chat to Michael. And now moving into next year, 2026 Order of Merit, will also be a qualifying tour for the Champions over in Ireland in July of 2027. But those 5 kids that I had this year play in my final in August, have just recently received their email invites.
Yeah, it came out the last couple of days, didn't they? Yes.
Yeah, 2026 champions. So it is great to be able to have that higher event to then progress my tour and elevate my tour up into. It does really give the kids something else then to look forward to. And in 2026, it's an Order of Merit for me. The winner of the 10 events, whoever's on top of the Order of Merit at the end of the 10 events, will punch their ticket to Ireland in 2027. So I'm not going to have a standalone. I want to have the whole of the Order of Merit 10 events. If you're sitting on the top of your age group at the end of the season, then you will punch your ticket to Ireland in 2027.
Okay, so obviously that's an elite competition. We'll bring you in here, Ian, and then talk about what you've been doing this year. Obviously, you got your own company, you do media coverage, you do videography and events, and you've covered some big events this year whereby you've been filming, full days of competitions involving juniors. Just explain what you've been doing this year.
We did quite a bit with England Golf again, Steve, which is good. We did the Brabazon Trophy at Hankley Common earlier in the year, but the main one, you were there as well, Steve, weren't you? The English Under-18s Championship at Farnham. Of course, it was at Farnham in 2021, I think it was. So we got asked back to do that. And so we could have done it without you, actually, Steve. You were a valuable help, I've got to say, because we had Luke Bone with us. Luke Bone is the head pro there, and of course he's Lottie Wode's coach as well, isn't he? And often carries her bag at US Opens and over in North America, the lucky lad these days, isn't he?
We can only dream, Ian.
Some life, isn't it? But by the way, Lottie Wode, what a player she's turned into.
What a talent.
Word.
We are going to go into talking about what we did with the podcast over this last year or so, but actually just specifically on that point, because we did a podcast on talent spotting and really wanted to actually get your viewpoint here, Ian, because you obviously have seen someone like Lottie, and we were asking the question. We went through my experience of when I first saw Charlie Hull when she was 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years old, and you've said on this podcast previously the fact that you always knew Lottie would make it. How did you know? That's the question, because when you're talent spotting, you don't do it. But how did you?
Talented at spotting talent. I mean, I'll tell you what it is, right? I've seen a lot of Lottie over the years. And I saw her first in 2021 when she won. Well, she was the top girl in the 21 English Under-18 Championship. And Aaron, you'll know this, and I've seen it on the 2020 Pro Tour and the Clutch Pro Tour with Dan Brown and Marco Penge. These players, they're just
another level.
Exceptionally, they're just what they are is consistent. Is what they are.
Yeah,
they are. I mean, it's a shame. I know Nicholas Poppleton's not playing that much anymore, is he?
Yeah, I know. I had him as well.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Dean as well now playing on the European Tour. These players, Lottie Wogue, the same. They're almost machines. A bad day for them on the 2020 Pro Tour or the English Under-18s is still a top 5. That's a bad day. Yeah. And I remember watching, I did Lottie Wogue. She was playing in the Sunningdale Foursomes a few years ago. I'm trying to think who her playing partner was. Might have been Rachel Gawley, potentially.
Yes, I think it was, yeah.
And they were unstoppable. Now, I know they had a handicap advantage over their 2 finalists, but they had it wrapped up by 13th. I think it might even be the 12th. Oh. And they were just absolutely fire. And you watch Lottie Wogue, and she's just... It's the mental toughness that she's got. Because you watch her, she's a great ball striker, don't get me wrong, but Rachel Gawley's a great ball striker. Most of these girls and boys, they're really good ball strikers. She just got that extra 10%. And I think a lot of it is up here, to be totally honest. And that's a big difference, I think.
You can see that already, though, can't you? With Lottie, you can see when she went and literally she was trying to do something that no one's ever done before, and that was to win the Irish, the Scottish, and then win the Open. And she just missed out, obviously, but she won the Irish and the Scottish. But to back up like she did 3 weeks, or not 3 weeks in a row, but to back up 3 events like that, and you watch how she just looked after herself. She just, eyes were just like tunnel vision. Nothing like the circus was hitting her shields. So everything was just bouncing off.
Yeah.
And you said something very poignant there, machine-like.
Yeah. I'll tell you what also helps.
To gear 3, to gear 4, to gear 5. And then there's those kind of guys that can push into a 6th gear that the guys like myself, and I'd say this quite confidently, myself can't find that 6th gear.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else that happens. We've been putting a camera in front of Lottie's face for 4 or 5 years now. So although it's not, our little broadcast is a lot different to standing at the first tee of the Open. However, she's used to having attention follow her down 18. She's also got a great support network, which I'm sure a lot of golfers do. But I know her mum and dad very, very well. In fact, Lottie's a Leeds fan as well. And Farnham Golf Club support her so well. Of course, Luke's there a lot for her too. But that's not unusual. I imagine most top golfers have a decent support network. But there is this almost when she plays, the rest of the world just shuts out.
Yeah.
And not many people have it. Dan Brown is a player who has it. I remember 2020 Pro Tour. He was always, a bad day for him was top 5.
Yeah.
Same for Nicholas Poppleton. It's a shame, these things. But Marco Penge as well. He was always in the running, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And these players who are now having huge success on the tours, they all seem to have one thing in common, and they're mentally strong.
Yeah.
And I think they're all very good golfers. Everybody on 2020 Pro Tour is a good golfer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're all good, aren't they? And Aaron, you're a good golfer. On your day, you can win a 2020 Pro Tour event.
Yeah.
The difference is that Dan Brown, no disrespect, but Dan Brown doesn't have to be quite on his day
to beat me.
With respect.
I totally agree with you. Dan Brown could be at 70% and have a B- game, and I would have to be playing at A+.
Yeah,
and that's true. That's you're saying exactly the truth. I have to be A+, and he would still be a B- and still probably potentially beat me. And that's the level change. That's the gear change. He's going to 6th, and I don't have 6th.
I think it's a lot of it is mentally. I think Lottie Wogue is just so strong upstairs. She really, really is. And look, don't get me wrong. She's got a brilliant swing.
Yeah.
She can just see things that other people can't. She can see a route through that. We might think, okay, that's a 7-iron, and she's thinking, no, I can make that. I can make that little gap, or I could do this and I could do that. And one thing to think you could do it, and another thing to actually go and do it as well. Yeah. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Right, we divulge here.
We
right,
did. Sorry,
we did a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Right, okay. Yeah. So the other part then of this show then is we're going to look back on the podcasts that we covered and the subjects and whether Ian, you're going to be the adjudicator here. We're going to talk about the subjects. We're going to try and go through what we've done, and you tell us whether we did the right thing or whether we made a complete hash of it.
Can I just tell you two other things that I did actually very quickly? If you've never done this before, I did the British Speed Golf Championships this year as well, which was unbelievable. Right, it's stroke play. Okay, over Sunningdale Heath, so it's a majority of par 3 course. So what do you think the winning? So it's basically done on time. Yeah. So you've got a cumulative score of your time in minutes plus your score. All right. So if I think it's a par 52 or something like that, Sunningdale Heath, something like that. Let's go for that for argument's sake. So if you did it in an hour and 52, or you did it in 50 minutes and you shot 52, that's a total score of 102. What do you think the quickest was around? Quickest time?
I actually remember kind of seeing this stuff. So the quick. So I'm going to probably say that the total, it was sub 100. I know. I'm pretty sure it was sub 100. So it was about 90. It was in the mid 90s. It was about 95 or 98, and that's minutes and strokes.
Right, you're wrong. Right, the final, right, the winning time in the final, it was done in 23 minutes. Right?
Holy crap!
23 minutes. Now, if it is, I'm pretty certain it's a par 52. What I can definitely tell you is that in 23 minutes of golf, our winner only shot 1 over par. 53.
Stop it.
Total 76.
Okay.
76. I was 20 off.
Right. Now, this well, obviously we're not talking about junior golf with this, but actually there is a point a little bit later on where we're going to be talking about etiquette on the golf course. Speed of play is one of the things, and the irony is that your story there, the score, is not related to speed of play. You don't have to be super slow. You don't have to. You can go around. You can play quickly, and you can still. It won't affect your golf.
The winner said to me after, he said, "If I wasn't running around doing it, I think I probably would have shot 4 or 5 over."
Yeah, because you think about it. You're thinking about it.
So what we're saying is, don't think about it, and you'll be a better golfer. I also, Steve, was up in Scotland. I did the World Schools Golf Championship, obviously a big junior related environment there. We had a day up at Royal Musselburgh, and of course finished things off at Fairmont St Andrews, which was great.
Any fog this time?
No, I actually saw some golf this time. Yeah, actually saw some golf, but a wonderful 3 days. Slightly different format that it is stroke play, but the players it's a wonderful tournament, don't get me wrong, but it's a school tournament as well, so a lot of people have sort of paid to be there, so there's some quite big scores over par as well. But I think it was a wonderful 3 days, second year doing it. Hopefully we'll go to the Caribbean next year.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the podcast which we did then. So we did one on our values, and I think there was probably 2 key characteristics here. One was the entry fees, and we had if you remember, Aaron, we had a big presentation. I did a big presentation about the prices which other junior tours charged for their events, and match it up with what you charge with yours and what I charge with my events. And I think the difference was, in some respects, I think there's one tour which charged £79 to play in the events. There were some which were 50, some were 35 for 9-hole competitions. Whereas one of the things which the biggest green fee that I charged for any event this year was £35, and that was on the championship course at Forest of Arden, and that was mainly because the club were charging me £28.50 for a green fee. So therefore, I was making the grand total of £6.50 per player, and obviously that went towards prizes. So
Prizes.
yeah, exactly. You see, so the rest of them were either 25 or 20. Some of them, one was even £15 for an 18-hole competition, and for the 9-hole competition, generally it was £10, £12.50 or £15 for a maximum for the 9-hole competition. And the prizes which you did were
prizes that I did. Well, my entry fees this year for my first year was $17.50 for an 18-holer and £10 for the 9-holers. So I made it really, really cheap. When I was hearing those numbers of the other tours, I was like, wow. But I was lucky. The golf clubs really looked after me in the ways of green fees, meaning lack of. So I was able to throw a lot of that money, pretty much all of it, back into prizes, which adds up very quickly when you've got under 10s, under 13 boys, 13 girls, 15 boys, 18 girls, 18 boys, so 6 age groups. And I was giving out first and second, towels, hats, dozen golf balls. That's what I was mainly giving out per event. So for the older kids was like you're looking at Pro Vs and TP5s. And then for the younger kids, I was looking at your Strixons and your Ulti Softs and your a little bit. But yeah, cost wise, I wanted to make it really affordable because cost of living, golf, travel, food, drinks, all that.
Okay. Travel there. So the other main characteristic of the events which I run and the events that you run, which has been mentioned already, but we'll put some numbers on this, was driving distances to events.
Travel.
So, for example, the vast majority of the events were in and around Warwickshire, and the ones which weren't were 2 in Leicestershire, which were both on, for those who know their geography, were both on the south west side of Leicestershire, so therefore the Warwickshire side of Leicestershire. The Bedfordshire events were a little bit further to travel to, but both of them were down major roads to get to. One of them was down the M1, one of them was across the A14, so a little bit more travelling distance for those. And the one in Northamptonshire was just off the M1 as well. So all close, and the 2 in Worcestershire were both in the north part of Worcestershire, so bordering along Warwickshire. So travelling distances were next to nothing for the events whereby I was running. And with yourselves, I know you've mentioned geographically some of the areas that you had for your 6 events, but there was none of them which were even the one which was outside Durham wasn't too far outside, was it?
No. So the maximum drive for the guys that were coming from like Newcastle was an hour. That was the longest drive that parents had to drive for any of my events.
Okay. And the last point as well is the website which we had on there is there can be a selfishness with running junior events in the sense of you don't want other people to get your players or the Progress Junior Golf website has always had all the competitions in the country on there. Yep. And it's a simple way as well of finding out whether there are clashes. So you try and avoid having the same events on the same date as other tours as well, you see. So the values which I think was set up when we spoke at the start of the year. Ian has the verdict. Have we matched what we said we were going to do?
Listen, when it comes down to costs, it's very difficult, isn't it? We all run our own businesses. So in order to continue running my business, whenever somebody comes to me and says, right, how much is it going to cost to live stream this event? First thing we all do, and you'll be the same, Aaron, when it comes to somebody who says, I want to hire your golf course, how much does it cost me to do the job, or how much does it cost me to break even, first of all? Because we shouldn't have to put our own hands into our pockets. No. We need golf clubs to make money. Simple fact is, when it comes to cost, a lot of it is determined by the golf club. Steve, you just said there, you charged £35 was your most expensive one because the club was charging you 28, right?
Yeah.
The simple fact is, if the club had turned around to you and said, Steve, we really like what you're doing, we can afford to do it for you and still break even, and we'll do it for £5, you're not going to charge £35, are you? No. You'd have charged a lot less. So that's where the start comes in from.
Which then potentially numbers of players could have gone up.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's the case. It depends on what the tour person wants to get out of this. We need, if you're organising events, Steve, we need the club to make a little bit of money. We don't want what we want to stop is greed. That's what we want to stop. We want a club to look at it and think, I want to support junior golf. However, I do have business to run. So I do it at the best I can possibly do it. That doesn't put my business at risk. Now, if that means because they'll make money from secondary income, which is fantastic. You know, so if it's a case of
food,
don't
shop.
lose money. Let me hire the course for you, but what's the best price you can do for me that doesn't cost you any money? And let's argument say 1,000 because it's an easy number. Right, it costs me £1,000 and you get the golf course for the whole day. Brilliant. Okay, I know I need to raise at least £1,000 to get the course because I'm not paying for it. In a perfect world, we'll go have a chat with Adidas or Callaway or someone else about, oh yeah, have loads of money, do it, yeah. Or, you know, that world doesn't work that way. So I think when it comes to cost, value is very difficult because unless you are being greedy. And you know you're being greedy because if you're charging 70 quid and the course has only charged you £5 per person, you are making somebody's pocket. Somebody's making a lot of money. It's not the parents, and it's not the golf course. So somebody somewhere is making money. However, everybody should get paid somewhere along the lines. Steve, you should get paid. Aaron, you should get paid for doing the Ace Junior Golf Tour. You're not going to become rich off it. You're not going to be retire off it, but you should walk out of there after putting all that effort in with something. You know, so I think value-wise, what you guys are doing, you guys certainly stick to it. For the others, I can't say because if they're charging 72 quid, let's say, it might be because the golf club has turned around and said, "Well, it's 60 quid a kid.
We're charging you 50."
Yeah, we're charging you 50, and then it's up to the golf club to be like, "Do they need to do that? If they have to, then that's the price. That just is like you go to the supermarket and a loaf of bread is £1.50. Well, that's the price. No, buy it or don't.
There's no negotiations.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So from a value point of view, you guys definitely. I think I would like to think certainly at junior golf, most people do. No one's getting rich out of junior golf. Let's put it that way. Nobody is a millionaire from just junior golf except Aaron Cox. So.
I worked my ass off as well for that.
Well, that's my point. You know, and it comes down to numbers, doesn't it? So I think value-wise, and most people watching this who run business, or well, even if you don't run a business, you understand how basic economics work. So I would like to think that everybody is doing it for a little small bit of the pie, because and then as soon as somebody tries to take a big pot of the pie, that's when it all falls flat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you get a thumbs up from me anyway.
Okay, all right. So we passed one.
We got there.
Just a point on Forest of Arden. When I say that they were charging £28.50, that was half price their green fee. So they had given me massive concessions of what they would normally charge for a day. So I have to. So it may sound as if I'm being critical of them. No, quite the opposite, in the sense that they were doing a massive discount for me to let the juniors play their golf course. And it wasn't the B course there; it was the championship course. It is a course which is, you know, when you go up in their clubhouse, you've got Darren Clark who's won there before. Thomas Bjorn. So you've got Ryder Cup captains who've won on that course.
So that's another point as well. But that's another point. The next level of course. If you go to a high course, you're going to pay for it. Yeah.
Right. One of the next podcast we did one on working in golf, and one of the things which we were looking to do was to try and get more juniors into the golf industry. Look, we all run competitions. We try and get players to get better as golfers, and try, you know, and the idea being is that because they bet handicap lower or whatever, they may or may not go on and become, you know, professional golfers potentially. But there are other avenues as well. So one of the things which we would work on, we've worked with a couple of people this year, Progress Junior Golf, Bailey Pike. We did some photography work with her. She's done some things with the Faudo series. So there's a couple of events whereby we did some work with her. Chesterfield Downs, I went and did some photography work with her. And also in the Futures final at the Belfry. And Tesney Burrows as well. Once again, a couple of events there. We came along. She did some photography work for me at Handsworth Golf Club, and also did some interviews. You kindly sent me along one of your videographers, and we did some interviews with Ian at Stratford Oaks. So she did some interviews there. So learned about how the media side of it is concerned. And of course, she co-hosted a Progress Junior Golf podcast as well when Aaron couldn't make it as well, you see. So, and I know that you've been speaking to her as well. I don't know whether that's something you pursued with the Ace, whether you've tried to get more juniors involved, perhaps with voluntary work or things like that with what you've been doing, Aaron.
Sorry, say again. Sorry.
I don't know whether the Ace Tour, whether you've got some juniors involved with trying to help you out with your events and trying to give them some pointers about how they could get into the industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had about 4 or 5 kids that I actually kind of taught them and kind of gave them information about how I was doing this and what I was doing this and why I was doing this and why it's important to do certain things. which then obviously I even got now. If you move away even from the tour, and I've been teaching a young girl who's just turned 16, and she was like, "Well, can I come and help you with the junior classes?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." Because of the way I've taught her over the years that I've been with her, she now wants to come and experience being and seeing what I do actually in classes and teaching, which then has now got her thinking about what she wants to do in the future. So not only did it really stem from when I did speak to a few of even the parents, but the kids as well, about why you do certain things, how you do this, why it's important to do this. You kind of give them another thought process about, okay, well, maybe I could, I'd quite like doing that. I might try that. I might look at that when I'm a bit older.
Now, I know Ian as well in the past when we've done podcasts as well, we've had people who've co-hosted the podcast with us, and they've gone on to help you out with your events, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, we've had Jenny Myers a few times help us out on bits and bobs. In fact, Steve, at the English Under-18s we had, do you remember Emily Horsted? She was
absolutely. Yes.
She's actually working for England Golf now, but she was there to help us out on bits and bobs, media bits and bobs, wasn't she, at Farnham? So I get asked a lot about this, actually. Everybody wants to work in the media because they think it's glamorous.
But it's hard work, though.
It's hard, and it's not that glamorous when you're staying in a Travelodge off the M1 motorway on the gateway into Leeds every Sunday night to go do 2020 Pro Tour. But I get a lot of people asking me about this media side as well. It is hard work, though, and it is a lot of there's no easy way. It's just a lot of talk to people, get your hands dirty is what I always say to people. Get involved. Like, you are going to have to do some stuff for free. You're going to have to turn up at events. If you're serious about it, you'll do it, and yeah. But I mean, look, working in golf, so many different routes, isn't there? As you said, there's management courses as well that you can do. Obviously we know about the PGA Pro, etc. But I see a lot of people moving into business management. In fact, business management's a really good, even just general business management, if you want to get involved in golf club management, like that. The DP World Tour are based down Wentworth, aren't they? They're not too far from me. People, and it's all sorts of stuff, and social media side of things as well now. I mean, look at content creation. Look at old. We know Rick Shields, but
golf influencers. Rick Shields, Peter Finch.
I mean,
Grant Horvath. All those Fat Perez guys in America, like the Bryan brothers.
The problem with all of that, though, I think you need to be a name going into it, don't you? It's very difficult to break into if you. Unless you're prepared to do some silly TikTok stuff.
And Ian, you'll probably correct me wrong, but with that kind of stuff, it's all about how confident you are in front of the camera.
Yeah,
you've got to be able to public speak.
Yeah, you've got to be prepared to. You've got to accept that you're going to open yourself up to things.
Yeah, vulnerability.
Well, these are the things which we
whether
we have done so far or not, but these are things we should be working on when we're doing the prize presentation. Perhaps getting some of the kids to do speeches after they pick up their prizes, to get them into the habit of having to talk in front of lots of people.
Well, they do that at Faldo, don't they, Steve? I think the winner has to do a speech, and you can see they're more nervous about that than playing their approach shot onto the 18th when they could win the tournament. Do you know what I mean? So,
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right. So do we get the thumbs up or do we get the thumbs down on what we're trying to do so far as that is concerned, then, Ian?
What are we trying to do? Just make people aware of what?
We're trying to.
Are we offering jobs or?
Well, if you want to.
Are we just making people aware of what jobs are available? Or
and basically give them the opportunity to learn some of the skills, which not just the playing skills, but learning other skills in and around our events that may give them opportunities to get jobs, not just in the golf industry, because at the end of the day, if we can teach someone how to deal with the media, we can teach them how to go into a job interview, and that can be relevant for any job. It doesn't have to be in golf.
I will say, you don't have to be any good at golf to work in golf. I'm a good example of that.
Yes. Right. So thumbs up, thumbs down, Ian. Okay, we're doing all right there. Right. Okay. Sustainability then. So this is one whereby it's something in particular that I'm passionate about, in the sense of the prizes which I've been giving out in my events are from sustainable products. It's easy said and done, to be perfectly honest, trying to find sustainable products and trying to find them at the right prices. But joining us on the podcast, we had Eco Wow and For the Planet, who both donated prizes for the event. We had an event down at Fulford Heath whereby they both came down and did little presentations. Jeff did a little chipping competition, and he gave away some prizes then. Alex as well, and the Bigger Ball as well. And I noticed earlier with your prizes earlier, Ian, the fact that you had the towels from the Bigger Ball. So that's Ian Woolley, who's done work with us there. So that type of thing is someone hoovering in their house.
Right. Okay. I'll tell you what it is. We're having and this is very sustainable, actually. We are having
good link.
We are having a media wall built downstairs surrounding our TV, made out of wood.
Right.
So you're welcome.
Let's take Ian out of this. Do we give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to Ian for that? For Ian to. Okay. All right.
Can I just say as well, I do drive a 1.2 litre car around the country as well, just to help with fumes. I don't drive a big 2 litre diesel or anything like that, so. Good. So I'm doing my bit for sustainability.
Right. The one thing which unfortunately is very difficult to get, and that's golf balls. In terms of trying to get golf balls which are recycled or but even within that, I give out prizes, particularly to the younger kids, whereby I get balls off eBay, coloured balls off eBay. So ones which are lake balls, things like that, which there's no point giving them some Pro V ones. So you try and give them ones which are going to be appropriate, which they would like, and things like that. You see, so recycling old balls, that's about as good as it gets with that. And obviously, I mentioned there that Ian as Ian Woolley from the Bigger Ball has provided you prizes, Darren, but also For the Planet as well. I think they've done some. Did they do some work? I know the bag tags as well came from the Bigger Ball as well, didn't they?
Yeah. So I had bag tags, and also had the tote bags as well. So I was able. It was fantastic to utilise the tote bags, and also the bag tags were absolutely brilliant. So I'll be definitely doing them again in 2026.
All right. So we've given you the thumbs up, Ian. Then are you going to reciprocate and give us the thumbs up with what we're doing?
Surely golf is the most sustainable sport there possibly is, because it's walking around in fresh air. No electronics, nothing. It's just human and ball and club, and that's nature for 4 or 5. Yep. So yes, you do get my thumbs up. But what I'm trying to get at is, in the grand scheme of things,
we should be doing more.
Really think I don't think golf is the problem. I think it's other areas that need to do more. To be brutally honest, not golf. I think golf actually, if you're looking at an area that doesn't need to probably worry too much, I think golf is the main sport. Football, for example, you do go to a Premier League game, you get 60,000 people packed together in this tiny little space, whereas a golf course, it's spread over 5 miles or something, isn't it? So for me,
acres.
Golf, so thumbs up. I'm going to mute myself because we just
probably wise as well. We prefer them like this anyway, Aaron. Right. Just a couple of points on the sustainability side of thing as well. So 2 things with that. Golf clubs as well. Ian mentioned their golf clubs as well. One of the events that I've booked for next year, for one of my events next year, has got solar panels on their clubhouse. They made a big push of that side of thing as well. And this year with the prizes, we did and this was with For the Planet, we did anyone who gets a gross birdie, we plant a tree for them. So we've done that type of thing as well. So little initiatives as well to help out. Also, a big thank you to the Leicestershire Golf Club and the Neaton Golf Club, because they donated some tee markers for me, for my younger kids so we ticked tees halfway down the fairway for those players as well. And they sorted that all out for me. So there are some great companies out there. We're not taking the credit for everything, but there are some great companies out there who do help with that.
Just on sustainability, Steve, talk about golf. Okay, golf's in a good place, I think. If I'm wrong, somebody comment below, let me know. Just that the weekend just gone, I'm heavily involved in motorsport, and I present the British Truck Racing Championship. So I'm sure you can appreciate that just one weekend of truck racing probably gives off more fumes than every golf club in the UK over the course of the year. So
I was going to say the other end of the spectrum.
I think golf is pretty, when it comes to sustainability and you're looking for areas to improve, I don't think golf is a problem personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree.
All right. It's nice the fact that Ian drives his like eco-friendly car around to go and cover events, driving trucks around. But there you go. Anyway, we'll gloss over that slightly.
Counterproductive, that, isn't
yes,
it?
exactly. Yeah. Right. Now, the next podcast we did was about parenting, and we could go into so many different aspects of parenting and what we try to do as far as that is concerned, because there was. So I'll give you some examples of some of the questions which were raised during that podcast. How you get kids started out, parents helping advise with that. How often do you get the kids to play? What kind of schedule do you sort out for them? How much, whether the parents know about golf, what they do or don't know about golf, how far to travel to events, the pressure they put on junior golfers, whether they involve other sports as well, whether the kids watch golf on TV, avoiding the pushy parent syndrome, the different challenges they're dealing with, failure as well, is obviously these are things whereby we deal with, and I'm sure you agree with this, Aaron. You deal with this on a parent by parent basis, and you deal with it pretty much in every event, whereby there'll be some kind of an issue. It can be minor in some events. It can be slightly more difficult to deal with.
Even in my junior classes, it comes across when you go try and handle parents' expectations and parent pressure, even in a junior class on the range in winter.
And when you have those events, is the fact that you have the competitive element as well, whereby in you would hope not quite so much competitive side of it in the coaching or in the practice side of it, but it brings a different element to it. Now, we'll bring it in here. It's difficult to measure whether we are or aren't doing the right thing with this. I mean, if you go into
you get my thumbs down.
Go on.
Okay, and it's not because I should give is wrong or anything like that. It's just parents in general. All right, it's not going to change. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference. We can have the podcast and say, Aaron, you'll know this. We've done the podcast. You'll have a new raft of juniors coming next year. And by and large, a majority, I'm not labeling everybody. A lot of parents are very, very good, very supportive.
Yeah.
But you will have some who know better. They just know better than you. They are. They've never hit a golf ball in their life, but they know better than you. And, I do a lot of work in football, as I say, and my son plays for 2 different teams. And we've got parents who don't even know what a goal kick is, but somehow when it comes to watching their kid play football on the sideline, they turn into Jose Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? Even though they haven't got a clue what they're looking at. And it's the same in golf. It's the same in tennis. It's the same in athletics. Yeah. It's the same in every single sport. And it's not going to go away. We could literally bang the drum, have the same message. Stuart Pearce said it right. Stuart Pearce, the former England defender. Yeah. He does a lot of work in football academies, or used to do a lot of work at football academies. And he said, the problem is never the kids, it's always the parents. And that's why you get a thumbs down, because it's still going to be the problem is the parents, not the kids.
Yeah, it's more a case of coping with it. I mean, I don't know whether you agree with this, Aaron, or not, but I think when you're doing a podcast, is you have to blame the parent when the kid starts getting in the shot of the podcast whilst you're trying to talk to someone doing a podcast. But anyway, there you go. Right. Right. Next podcast, we did one on girls golf, and we did one on the, and how different that is from dealing with boys golf. So, lots of different subjects once again covered with that. Mixed competition, girls only competitions, avoiding discrimination, the different perceptions that girls have as well. So I'll describe a little bit about what you do with girls golf, with your events, of how you try and incorporate them and try and make them feel welcome with your events.
Oh, I just advertise an open door policy. I open the doors to whether it's my academy or whether it's my junior events. And every child that wants to play golf will be allowed to. Will have the opportunity to. Will always be supported and encouraged to. So boy or girl. But more on the girls, it's about creating an atmosphere and a social atmosphere that they feel comfortable. Girls are very different to boys. Boys can kind of, go in there not knowing anyone, and within a class or two, they'll have a friend or friend or 2 or 3. Whereas girls, they're a little bit more different. They're a little bit more a bit quieter, a bit shyer. So that's why, that's why I always make sure I do a girls class, because you'll always have girls that like being around other girls, that see the girls playing. And then even when I play my comps and play my events, I always try and put at least one or two girls in a group, so the girls have got someone to talk to. They might chat to the guy, which they will, but there's someone else out there. But then you've got some girls you're like, you know what, put me with the blokes, put me with the boys, because I enjoy the competition against them, although I'm not actually playing
Aaron,
against them. I like playing with them.
Can I ask you a question? You're getting on a bit now. You're what, 40? So
not quite.
Soon. So Tuesday, thank you.
I'm already 40. So
Yeah.
my question to you: you've obviously,
Yeah.
played professional golf. Obviously been
Yeah.
involved in golf your whole life. So let's go back
Yep.
when you were 15. Let's go back 25 years. So think about
Yep.
Blackwell Grange and Richmond and your juniors and the girls and the female golfers coming through, the women golfers as well. Do you see a larger female presence now than you did 25 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's an easy
And
answer.
why
That
is that? Is it because the barrier to entry is just almost, it is on its way to evaporating now, and the culture and the stereotype still there, but it's not quite as severe as it once was?
Everything you've just said is absolutely 100% spot on. There's less of a barrier. There's less of a stigma. The age old, back in the day, golf stands for gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. And I know it's a joke, but I mean, some people still kind of have that kind of, the older generation still have that kind of view. But no, look, a lot more girls are playing golf these days, less barriers, more welcoming by golf clubs, because let's face it, golf clubs are now struggling because the next generation are not there.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of golf clubs that I'm going to fear for in 15, 20 years' time that may not have the number of members needed to keep going and be sustainable.
I'm going to be controversial here, and you're not going to like this. It's too many golf clubs.
I would almost agree with that.
So
yeah, it's almost flooded the market.
Certainly in the UK, there's too many.
2,000 golf courses like that.
Yeah.
2,000 to 3,000 golf courses in this country.
In this country,
and this is and that's small. In this small country, like when you look at Australia, like you could fit England into Australia like something like 40 times.
Yeah.
Land size, and there's not even that many golf courses.
Where is it, Steve? Faldo Series wasn't it in like Croatia or somewhere like there? And Croatia is like a similar size to the UK, maybe even a bit bigger, and they've got like 2 golf courses.
Yeah, I think it was the event that I went to. We did one Latvia, whereby there's two golf courses in the whole country.
Yeah.
And I was amazed when I was talking to the pro there.
I think Latvia is smaller than
and credit to him, the fact that he managed to get so many golfers to come to, because and obviously it's a sport which is not really known in Latvia as well. So he was doing such a great job of trying to get players involved. So just on the point of girls golf, Aaron, is what's the split between so averaging around about 50 players for all your events this year? What's the split between boys and girls within that? And how many of those are boys?
Within the events, you're probably looking about 12 to 13 girls per event maximum across all the age groups.
Yeah, and I suppose, let's say, for example, for argument's sake, you've got 3 age groups for the girls, or 2 age groups for the girls, and then 1 which is a mixed competition.
Yeah, so I had under 18 girls, I had under 13 girls, and then I had 2, and then the under 10s was mixed.
Yeah, so let's say, for example, you've got 12 golfers. Let's say 2 of them are in the mixed competition, and then you've got a split of 5 and 5 in the 2 age groups. If you've got only 5, 6, and let's double that and say you've got 10 over the course of the whole year, they're going to be playing alongside each other quite often. Whereas if you've got 40 boys in a particular age group over the course of a whole year, then they're not going to be playing alongside each other all the time.
No.
So is that something whereby you have to be aware of in both ways, in the sense of it's an opportunity for them to make friends, but equally so is that try and give them the opportunity if for whatever reason, and you know what I'm going to say here, they don't necessarily get on with each other.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid that.
Yeah,
putting either of them off.
I always try and allow the girls to play with different players, and especially with the older girls that I had about 4 or 5 girls in the under 18s. I never put 2 of them in the same group. I always put 1 girl with 2 guys, because of that age, Those girls they're okay. The younger girls, I normally put 2 girls in one guy in each group. So to those, but the under 13 girls just gives them there someone to talk to, and then the under 10s only had about two or three. So I kind of kept them together, with the under 10s to just to keep them together to play. The older they get, you can kind of then back off worrying about having to put them together as they get older.
And what about prizes? Because I used the word discrimination earlier, but in terms of prizes, let's say, for example, you've got a girls' competition, girls only category, and you've got 3 girls playing in it, and you've got a boys' category, the same age category, and you've got 15, so 5 times as many players playing in it. How many prizes do you give, and do you give the same value of the prize?
I give the same value and the same prizes.
Okay.
So I gave out top 2 in under 18s, and they normally had about 7 to 9 kids. Whereas I had 4 girls, the under 18 girls, but I gave 2 girls prizes, 2 boys prizes, and I gave them exactly the same value.
Okay. Do you not think golf media as well? Like, I'm going to praise golf media here, because I often think golf and tennis are quite similar in a sense of both women's golf and women's tennis and male golf and male tennis have always had quite good coverage. Like the Solheim Cup gets really good coverage, doesn't it? Most LPGA events have been broadcast for as long as I can remember. Same with the PGA.
Women's tennis is very well broadcasted.
Yeah, but I think after that, the tennis is a bit better. I get it, but I always think, and I could be wrong because I'm not female. So if there are any women golfers watching this disagree, please do comment below. But from my perception, I always feel like I turn Sky Sports on, and there's often a women's tour on, which is great, And then we've had 2020 Pro Tours and Clutch Pro Tour bring in gender equal tournaments in and things like that. So I just
just on that point as well, the gender equal tournaments or the events whereby the golf events whereby you've been having men's and ladies play together, that was brought in about 3 or 4 years ago. That seems to have disappeared the last 2 years. Am I missing something?
Well, my understanding is, certainly I think it was with 2020 Pro Tour, wasn't it? They did it and tried it. Aaron, you've got to go, haven't you? We'll say goodbye to you, my good friend. Me and Steve will carry this on. And everybody, Aaron Cox. Please give it up for Aaron Cox.
Thanks, guys. Look at that. I'd love to stick around a little bit longer, but I do have to get to work and go.
Yeah, just one point with Aaron is the fact that obviously the next podcast we do with Aaron won't be able to talk at all during the entire conversation. He'll have to be muted the entire conversation because obviously while the Ashes are going on, we do not want to hear any views whatsoever from an Australian.
Unless England are winning.
Unless England are winning, in which case then you can talk as much as you like.
No chance.
Yes. All right. We should catch up with you soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take it easy. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, Steve.
Steve, I've sort of forgot a word. Oh, we're talking about, right. Yes. So my understanding for gender equal tours, actually, believe it or not, is quite a lot of the females actually then didn't want to be competing against the males that way because they obviously had to shorten the course a little bit. They did play slightly shorter yardages and it just caused issues. And actually, I think it's easier to do a male tour. I think the numbers were the issue, to be honest, Steve. That was a bit of an issue, and I know from speaking to some of the female golfers, they actually would rather just not have it classed as equal. Do you know what I mean? Which is sort of, actually quite good, to be fair. If that's what they want, then yeah, great. We're always learning, aren't we? And you've got to try these things, and either it works or it doesn't. But you've got to listen to the people involved and find out what works for them and what doesn't, and go from there.
All right, you've obviously heard what Aaron's been doing with the girls' golf, and a lot of the things which he's mentioned there, as far as the very same prizes, the trying to integrate the girls better and being aware of the fact that there's might be a smaller field. It's the same thing that we would do with the Progress Junior Golf events. Is that something whereby it's something we said we were going to do at the start of the year? Is that something where we get a thumbs up, thumbs down, or think it's something we need to work on?
Aaron's just said it's exactly what he's doing. So thumbs up from me. Yeah.
Right. next podcast then we did was one frequently asked questions, and it was one about communication. It was all about, you know, the questions which are constantly asked at events, and they could be anything from how do I join a golf club, how do you get a handicap, how much does it cost to play an event, where it can go and play, what kind of prizes, how you get golf equipment, you know, safety, coaching, the format, what's county golf, all those types of things as well. Now I think I can speak on Aaron's behalf here and say that's something whereby it's a constant thing, because we are asked these kind of questions, and, you know, and we try and give sound advice. The Progress Junior Golf website does have frequently asked questions on there as a section. So therefore, we try and give as many answers as we can, and try and, you know, give people the right advice about what they should and shouldn't be doing out there. So are we getting the thumbs up for what we're doing there?
Yeah, all the information on the website, Progress Junior Golf. Head on over. Yeah,
fantastic. Right, etiquette. Now this is a podcast which we did. We had Jodie Vardy on, who's she's a school's teaching assistant. She's also a parent of a junior golfer as well. Fascinating hearing her point of view on some of the things which she teaches her kids about the etiquette, and there are lots of parts of etiquette, and I know that we've had and you're probably going to bring up the one of your tried and tested stories about your mum not even thinking that she was allowed to go into a golf club because she thought she wasn't allowed to go in there. But there were things whereby it's not just about course etiquette; it's about competition etiquette. We mentioned a little bit earlier about pace of play, you know, driving range etiquette. You know, the etiquette you need to have with dress codes, club etiquette, parent etiquette, and things like that, you know. And these are things whereby people, particularly ones who are new to the game, you know, you need to have the I mean, you do play golf, but when does your mum play golf, or was that her first experience of her saying that to you about, or didn't even know I was allowed to go there, kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, this was only 3 or 4 years ago. She's not a golfer, but my old man used to be captain of Farnham, so she's not adverse to going. But then again, it perhaps was a bit different then, because it was a case of you wouldn't just turn up at a golf club to have a drink. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go to a pub, don't you? You know, I think golf actually does get a lot of things right when it comes. Most people understand that it's slightly different etiquette at golf than if you go to other sporting events, for example. And I think most people get that. I don't see that many issues. I've never been, or very rarely have I been to a golf club and someone's been rude or they're not dressed the right way. And you know,
you watched the Ryder Cup. Did that cross the mark? Cross the line?
That's the traditions of golf for me. Like, I'm a big fan of Waste Management Open in Phoenix, and I like Live Golf. I'm a big fan of Live Golf. I think sometimes the waste management goes a little bit too far when you've got beer cans being thrown on, and I think golf holds itself a little bit higher in that regards of thuggish behaviour. However, it needs to meet in the middle. There needs to be the balance. Old school tradition was too much. Do you know what I mean? You've got to come dressed really stiff and smart, and you're not allowed to breathe in the wrong direction. Whereas then we don't want it to turn into football where you get abused. There's beer being thrown everywhere. It needs to meet in the middle. Ryder Cup and Waste Management, as much as I enjoyed them, probably went a little bit too far that way. But we don't want to be where my mum feels, where we're back there, where, well, I can't go into a golf club because I'm not allowed. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be in the middle somewhere. And I think by and large, with a lot of golf clubs, their clubhouses are prime examples of this. They feel a lot more modern. We go to some golf clubs, wonderful golf clubs, but you go into the clubhouse and it's like the 1700s. Do you know what I mean? And just, clothing is a big thing for me as well. As I said, I'm wearing a hoodie now. I would quite happily, I think I should be able to I've just got a t-shirt on and a hoodie. I think I should. I mean, I've got jeans. I wouldn't wear jeans, of course, but I've got golf shoes and some golf trousers on. I think no reason why I couldn't go play golf like this. So
I won't name names here. Could do and should do perhaps, but there was a golf club whereby an event I was at recently whereby there were some members in the bar who were having a go at the juniors for wearing golf shoes in their non-spike area, which is fair enough because that's their rules are there. But there was a guy stood at the bar who was wearing golf shoes, and they weren't saying a single word to him. And then a parent walked in who wasn't wearing golf shoes, and they had a go at the parent. And going back to what we learn and what we're teaching with my events, I bit back. I called this guy out and I said, you're out of order here because, I understand you having a go at the kids, or at least telling the kids that they shouldn't wear the golf shoes inside, but he's not wearing golf shoes and you're not picking on the guy. And the guy swore back at me. And I just thought, okay, well, you've lost your argument now because, I'm dealing with someone who, with the greatest respect, probably was at the Ryder Cup. Or someone like that, whereby someone who doesn't know,
But the thing is, well, Steve, most golf shoes are like trainers anyway, aren't they? Like,
exactly.
I get not wearing spikes into the car. Totally, of course you would. I mean, I'd like to think most people would think, well, I'm going to go walk into a bar or an inside area. But most golf shoes, whenever I'm on broadcasting on a golf, or even when I play golf, do you know what I wear now? They're my standard trainers. I don't even have specific golf shoes. Now, I don't play at any particular high level or anything like that, but I play with my dad quite a bit down at a golf course near Alton in Hampshire, and I just wear my trainers. I don't care. I wear golf trousers, and I don't actually wear a hoodie. But the reason I don't wear a hoodie is more actually out of respect for my dad, because he spent a lifetime in golf. I think he would have a heart attack. Do you know what I mean? So I do wear like a more of a just traditional polo and a jacket, but not like a posh jacket, but just like a anorak, like zip up golf coat. But that's got a hood on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'll tell you a story as well. I was in a golf club sort of a few years ago whereby I was just about to leave, put my coat on, and someone came in and started chatting to me. And I was chatting with him for 5 minutes, and one of the members came over to me and said, "Are you cold?" And I'm like, "No." And he said, "Well, why are you wearing your jacket inside?" And I'm like, so I didn't realise wearing a jacket inside was against the club's rules, and I just thought to myself, okay, fine, and I left, and I always remember that. And whenever I go back there since I always think, right, that's the kind of club I'm walking into.
Yeah.
But
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if a club, it's up to a club. If a club is dead set on being traditional, then it's their club, their rules, and we do have to respect that. You might not agree with it. I wouldn't join a club if they turn around and said you're not allowed to wear hooded tops, or you're only allowed to wear like a collar. You've got to wear a collar in the clubhouse. If it was that type of club, I just wouldn't join. Like that's the club's not for me. I'll go find another one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. So we mentioned about, or tried to give you an indication of what we've been trying to do with etiquette. Sometimes we'll tell the kids off, or sometimes we'll advise them about the things that they should and shouldn't do in and around the golf course, not just on the golf course, in and around the clubhouse, driving range, pace of play, that type of thing. But like I've just mentioned there, if I feel as if the juniors are being discriminated against, I will stand up for them as far as, Good. And am I getting a thumbs up?
Yeah, thumbs up for that, Steve. Well done. You took one there for the juniors.
Right. Okay. So two more podcasts then, which we'll have a brief chat about then, and then we'll wrap this up then. The one we did a couple of months ago, we did one on talent spotting. We've mentioned this earlier about Lottie Road and things like that, but just a question which you've obviously covered some big events, and we go right the way from mentioned earlier about the Wonder Series, whereby players who are just starting out, giving them the opportunity to learn how to love the game. And we know that I'm running events there whereby I'm not really taking that much notice of the scores, and I'm not looking out for someone who's going to be the next big thing and all that. But you've obviously covered as well. I've been there as well, whereby that the Fowler Series, for example, is an event whereby, the English, under 18 championship, which we covered down in Farnham, that's your elite level. And it's a case of trying to get them from that first point. And it's a word which we've mentioned on many occasions on this podcast. Get them to love the game, get them to it be fun.
Yeah.
And then eventually because they love the game, because they want to play it more, the competitive instincts will take over. And it's that whereby you start having to spot. If you remember when we did the podcast, we had a good conversation with, I think it was the England team manager there, weren't we? We were talking about, I was asking questions, I can't remember what his name was now, on the 6th team. We were talking about, and I was saying, what are you looking out for out there? And that's the thing, isn't it? Whereby they're not just always looking for the score. I think they brought up the example of the lad who shot 79 in the first round.
Yeah.
But only finished 2 off the lead in the end because he came back, and that's good sign. That's things that they're looking for. Someone who's not willing to let his bad day affect him.
I guess it's like scouting in all sports, isn't it? Just because you've had one bad round, it's a lot about your attitude and your application whilst out there. And sometimes you could be having a bit of a bad round, but then it's a decision making when you're out on the course as well. They might be looking at that if somebody's following you to have a little look. How do you, if you know you're having a bad round, how do you put that behind you and make sure you do the right things going forward? Or if you shot 10 over and you know you're out of the tournament, do you just give up? Do you know what I mean? Do you keep fighting right to the very end? Because match play, for example, or the team sports, just because you're having a bad round, you might still be able to put a few points on the board. So you just, I think scouting in sport juniors is always, you've got to give the best account of yourself at all times. And I've seen players lose their heads before, and sometimes you can understand it when they're juniors because they're a little bit more emotional. They're not quite able to control themselves as much. But then you see players like Lottie Woad. Never in my life have I ever see her have a meltdown, or she might have done a bad shot but you never see any reaction from her. It's almost like she is a robot, and it's like, if that was me, I'd be like, oh, I can't believe I've done that, but she's just like, okay, bad shot, focus, move on. And that's we spoke about it before. That's just a lot of it, I think, is mentally up here. Everybody in these Faldo Series tournaments are really good golfers. They're very good golfers. The difference is how you cope with things when it's not going your way. And I think that, again, that's another difference between people.
Okay, I'm going to give you one example here, and you can base your thumbs up or thumbs down based on what I'm going to describe as what I'm going to be looking to do, based on what I've seen this year at my events. Is the fact that I'm not going to name names, but there's a young golfer who's 11 handicapper, and not 11 handicapper. He's 11 years old. Actually, his handicap is around about 11 now. And this year, I've ran events whereby I've had the single figure handicappers play off the white tees, or whatever the most back tees are, and then the 10 to 28 handicappers, I'm talking about the boys here, playing off the yellow tees. He's getting to that stage whereby his handicap, in theory, he should be playing off the forward, the very back tees. Mentioned the Forest of Arden there. If you play off the back tees of the Forest of Arden, it will be way, way too long for him. So I am incorporating into my events next year a rule whereby if you're under the age of 12, then you don't automatically be put in that top division bracket, because I think it would stunt his development.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he gets to the stage whereby he's a 5-6 handicapper, and him and his dad and his family feel he's ready to go and play off the back tees to challenge himself, then we'll go full blown, and that's fine. But I think I don't want to stunt his development. I don't want to, because
I like that.
Yeah. I'll give you an example as well. Charlie Hall, for example. Charlie Hall, when she was, and even now, never ever plays off the red tees at Woburn, her home club. To play against Ryan Evans, who we both know Ryan, and she'll play against Ryan, and they'll both go off the same tees. And by the way, she's never lost to Ryan, or at least the last time I spoke to Ryan.
After red tees.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is they had the British Open at Woburn, and they put them off the red tees.
Yeah.
And she said she'd never played the golf course off the red tees before, so she didn't know her yardages of any of the holes. She thought she'd have loads of home advantage. She didn't have any.
Well, you get a thumbs up from me. I mean, look, that's what the handicap system's there for, isn't it? It's designed to help people and give them the best opportunity to grow up to the right level, just as long as it's used correctly, of course. But yeah, thumbs up.
Right. Okay. Last one then. The last podcast we did, and it was a fun podcast, but it's so important for the development of junior golf, and that's the rules of golf, which we did. And it's something whereby it's an ongoing thing, and it's one where, look, we know they're going to make mistakes. I made the point in the podcast that not every junior golfer is a cheat just because they get a ruling wrong or they are perceived to have that is the case. And Aaron's the same. We've all been in a situation whereby we've seen people and, they've dropped at the wrong play, played the wrong ruling or whatever. Aaron gave an example when he was a professional golfer whereby he had to call a rule on his playing point. He was in the 2-ball and he said it was the most awkward last 6-7 holes he'd ever had, because obviously, pretty tense between the two of them kind of thing. But these are the things whereby, as a junior organizer, as someone who's obviously heavily involved with junior golf, these are the things which we sometimes we have to make tough decisions as far as that is concerned. I know whether you can give a thumbs up or thumbs down on that, but it's not easy doing that, is it?
You get a thumbs up, Steve, just by trying to do it. You did the quiz, didn't you? And look, the simple fact is the rules of golf. It's a book thick, isn't it? It's ridiculous. Like nobody knows the rules of golf, right? Nobody knows every rule of golf if you through the book. It's like being a lawyer. This is why lawyers need time to research their case. Do you know what I mean? But then we're asking, when we do these tournaments, we're asking a referee to come over and make the call there and then within 10 seconds. If this was a lawyer, they'd have 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? To work through the book. So I think
I'll give you the perfect opportunity. Sorry to put it. I'll give you the perfect opportunity. You had the classic example in a professiontal event whereby players got it wrong and big consequences.
Yeah. Chris Hansen and it was Dan Brown. It was Dan Brown, of course, playing in that playoff, and Chris Hansen made the wrong call, went on to win the tournament, and then on review of the live footage that we had, Chris was disqualified from the tournament, and that footage actually now is used as an example. England Golf use that video footage when training up their referees and officials on what to look for. So actually, some good came out of that in the end, and Chris was a superstar and took it, very, very well indeed. But he thought this was a player who's made 90 starts on the European Tour, thought he was doing the right thing. Turned out it wasn't upon review. But this is what I mean. This is a player who's played 90 times on the European Tour under scrutiny, getting it wrong, thinking it's right. He certainly wasn't cheating. He wasn't cheating at all. He thought, and even Dan, his playing partner, thought he was doing the right thing. They both agreed to it. So, look, I think when it comes to junior golf, I think there should be maybe 10 bullet points of these are the rules. All right. These are the basic 10 rules. If you follow this, you can't really go wrong. Do you know what I mean? If you hit it out of bounds, it's drop a shot, take a penalty. Stuff, I really do think it's quite daunting, the rules of golf, but it doesn't actually need to be. It really doesn't. I still stand by the rule, play it as it lies. Play it doesn't matter. Play it where it lies. If it goes out of bounds and it's on the road or something, you've lost it, then it's quite simple. Just wherever you stood when you played the shot, you put the ball down again, you take a penalty stroke for it. Simplify things. All these, it's a 2 penalty straight, you've got to go back this club length. No. Oh my God. Just
you're not helping. You're not helping when I'm trying to explain these to the juniors, because at the end of the day, they are.
Give them 10 bullet points. The 10 key things that you must do. Leave it at that. Anyway, yes, there you go.
Right. Okay. And those were the podcasts which we did this year. Then just a quick mention. I know Aaron's not here at the moment, though. But next podcast we're going to do is we're going to look ahead to 2026. And obviously, Aaron's already alluded to how his tour is expanding up in the Northeast. I've got some exciting things which hopefully will be happening over the next few weeks or so, which we'll get ready to announce for next year. I'm sure yourself, Ian, as well. You're going to have some things with junior golf over the next 12 months or so as well. You'd like to talk about at that time. Now, do you want to give us an exclusive now, or are we holding fire?
Well, I'll do some bit of work in junior football. I'm doing Crystal Palace under 18s against West Ham under 18s on Saturday, if anybody's interested. So so we've got a lot of stuff we work on. Quite a lot of stuff comes in quite late in the day as well. It looks like we'll be back with the World Schools Golf Championship in 2026. Not sure where those venues are going to be yet. We'll probably be back with Aaron again for his Pro-Am, like we do every single year. And there's a few things that we're having conversations on, but I can't talk about yet.
No. All right, look, appreciate you rejoining us. It's lovely to see you again.
Yes. Well, thanks for having me back, Steve.
Yeah, a little bit of receding hair there, I noticed. But,
no chance. No, not this Barnet. No way.
No, and obviously fantastic. Aaron could join us as well, and I think we got pretty much a thumbs up for most of the things that we've been doing this year. But having said that, it's not like it's we're still learning. There are things there whereby we know we need to do better, and we will carry on doing that. And if you keep your eye on Progress Junior Golf over the next few weeks, months, years ahead, you'll see that we're trying to do the right thing. We're going to be talking to the right people and trying to get the right messages across to everyone basically associated with junior golf. So that pretty much will wraps it up for this evening. Then thanks so much for everyone watching, and we should
see you next month.
All right, see you later.